The reason that SVB went under is because they put all of their funds that they got deposited into 1% interest rate yielding bonds that didn't mature right away. And they have a ton of money invested in low yield bonds that is stuck with the Federal Reserve. So they have these assets, but they're just not liquid. But their liquidity compared to their liabilities.
The New York Attorney General sued KuCoin, which is huge because KuCoin's Hong Kong based. And in that, security or in that lawsuit, they mentioned that ETH staking is a security.
Welcome to another episode of the Cryptosparta Podcast. We got some...
It was an eventful week of crypto.
Yeah.
Unexpected.
Did you slurp the dip?
Yeah, maybe we should have bought the dip. But
USDC under $1.
There was reason to be scared with all the, macro stuff that's going on. But like always, we'll start out with markets. And, Bitcoin early in the week was, at 22,500, and then it dipped down to like 20K with, all the banking news with Silicon Valley Bank dipping. And then now it's little at all week highs right now at like 22.3.
So I want to can you show actually though, the chart? It's a bit of a Batman. And the way that Batman is there's the ear on the side and then it goes down, but then it comes back up. And so the way that I think about it is that the effects of this blip, I think, have gone through, but people are wondering if it's contagion. So this is the idea that we're going to propose for the podcast is, are things going to get worse or did this happen? Because some people in crypto are like, bro, Luna was worse. This was worse. That was worse. And we bounced. Yeah, exactly. And we bounced. It's a Batman chart symbol.
So
Monday morning, there's gonna be a run on banks. The whole system is collapsing. Everything's done.
Yeah. So right now we're recording this on a Sunday. Thursday and Friday.
There was a crypto bounce, but the traditional markets have not opened.
Yeah, exactly. Because crypto is 24/7, and it's also because of the DPEG. I guess. Might as well just start what's SVB.
The thing is the news, exactly. And the news is that they are getting bailed out.
Yeah, so the Silicon Valley Bank, it's called SVB, made moves that were terrible based on, the Fed's decision to raise rates. And they were buying bonds that, were not going to be good.
I'm going to explain it in more detail because, I was waiting for it. But what really happened was that since there's many people trying to explain it and also decide what decisions caused the problems or what SVB did wrong and if they were being greedy, they had a ton of inflow in deposits by people banking with them. So people pushed their money into the banks. And what they did is they thought that inflation was going to be tamped down based off of markers from Joe Biden. Now, the tricky thing is these guys are all California, Silicon Valley tech bros who are all aligned with the government.
Hence the name Silicon Valley Bank.
They're very blue. They're very on the Democrat side. When they crashed, people expected the bailout, but this story is a couple days old. So the bailout has happened.
It's about to happen.
It's already been confirmed. So they're going to stabilize the markets. What they're saying is that it won't be taxpayer funds. What might happen is that other banks will swallow up SVB. And the issue is that what they did is a very bad problem where their liquidity was way too low for the amount of deposits that they had because they did not expect people to all retract their deposits at once.
Yeah, there's a bunch of reflexivity, a bunch of kind of the market fear and ongoing just kind of chain reaction we've seen with FTX. As immediately there's there's some whiff of FUD or
So if there's smoke, is there fire? Yeah. And then there might be some fire. And then this is the question where really there's there's the two sides. with the bond market, now the government is cranking up rates and they want people to deposit. And so now they're offering very high percentages. So if you do get a CD, which is a certificate of deposit, and you do it for a year, you can get up to 6%, which is like, that used to be unheard of, but that's because we're doing with inflation. So it's like inflation. Now this is scary because if you are a student of either math or science or, the science of economics, 6% traditionally in the United States is a good return on your investments. Although it's been a giant bull market historically for anybody who's invested in the S&P or real estate. Everything is blown up. And so now people are saying that it might be a bubble. The reason that SVB went under is because they put all of their funds that they got deposited into 1% interest rate yielding bonds that didn't mature right away. And they have a ton of money invested in low yield bonds that is stuck with the Federal Reserve. So they have these assets, but they're just not liquid. But their liquidity compared to their liabilities, they have like, imagine $100, and then in their bank account, they have $1. If people want $20 out of the $100 that has been given to this bank, the bank doesn't have $20. It's ridiculous. So they all have very, very low, and what it's called is reserve requirements. They're at or below 1%. And then the thing is, if you've seen like, what was the movie, Margin Call?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're right at the reserve rates, but like if we have a bad day, we're illiquid.
Yeah.
But now it was the Silicon Valley people talking to each other, and then they all pulled out at the same time. The CEO the day before sold
3.2 million shares.
Yes.
Some shit like that.
An incredible amount of stocks the day before. They knew that there was going to be a cash crunch. They knew that there were liquidity issues. And so now it already appears that other banks are going to buy it out. So
FDIC already took over.
No, it won't be. No, I don't believe that it's going to be FDIC. I think it's going to be private.
No, it's closed.
No. The FDIC is going to take care of some of the liabilities. But I think that actually people like Berkshire Hathaway are purchasing the debt. So this business has assets.
Under the permission of the U.S. government, though.
Well, they've already done a fundraising and they've done a sale. So there's many ways to cut
and
this.
They also created just recently like some kind of program about the funds, and then they also announced that people over 250K will get their money back.
Well, FDIC, what they said is that normally they're going to be covered to a certain extent beyond 250K. But then also there are assets behind these things that are going to be sold off at a discount. And so now the vultures are coming in. So the thing is, FDIC is going to insure some of the deposits, but a lot of the other deposits are going to be, imagine I take out a mortgage for $500,000 or $100,000, but I have like $10,000 in the bank. And then the bank is like, okay, I have 10,000, but like you owe me 100,000, but the guy that I owe $1 million to is knocking on my door. Look, I still am going to pay out my mortgage over 30 years, but the bank doesn't have $1 million to pay out the other guy.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is they have all these assets that over time are supposed to pay off. But when everybody knocks on their doors, they're fucked. But they're going to sell off my mortgage that's $100,000 or $500,000 at 80%. And there's going to be other banks that are going to backstop this bank. And then they're going to pick at the bones. And at the end of the day, the people invested in the bank are going to be the losers. But not the depositors, hopefully. But the depositors might not get their 100% back.
I think they announced something that they would get it back, but just a matter of how. And the thing is that, so since the government took over the bank, like funds are frozen right now.
Government didn't take over the bank yet.
It closed. Everything is under the CEO.
No, they're doing like a fire sale.
The CEO doesn't have power.
I've heard that they're raising funds and then the bank is going to be dissolved and all the assets are going to be sold. It's going to be like a bankruptcy.
Under the guidance of the government. The government, nothing is happening without the government.
We're going to need to get back to this because this is like a developing story. We're going to see honestly, a lot of things are going to happen Monday.
On Monday.
Is this going to be, so the worst case scenario is a lot of people go to their banks.
So, yeah. So
and how many other banks are
leveraged? So how this, affects crypto is like, USDC Circle had some part of their money reserves with the bank that are frozen, and people got scared. And so USDC started depegging. People started, trying to convert their USDC to USDT Tether. People got screwed over not looking at liquidity.
This was
pools.
All right. So this was the tweet though. Let's just get it out of the way because it was a random story. I think it's real.
Yeah.
So
it's on chain.
You can find on I'm looking at Alex J Mangala, Alex Jim the Blue Roo, but there's a lot of people showing this story. There was someone who was trying to swap out and then they didn't do the
panicked. And so they didn't set their slippage correctly.
Yeah, you want to just read it off?
He neglected his slippage correctly and hit send. And in this Uniswap pool, pairing, Curve, 3Curve, and USDC, the pool didn't have any liquidity, only had $2 of liquidity, and wasn't active for 251 days. So he panic sold, all $2 million worth of 3 CRV. And he only got 54,182 units of USDC, which was worth about 5 cents. So he just lost basically $2 million.
And then what this guy did is that the way that these transactions work, and I think that crypto is such a great way to learn about markets, is when there's pools of two assets. It's not an efficient market because there's pools on all these different exchanges. So if you're in the pool in like some illiquid exchange and you're like, I've got $2 million worth of Curve, but I want to swap it to USDC. Okay, but what's on the other side? Like a couple dollars of dollars? Like if you trade it on the open markets, that's fine. But you're in this one random pool because that's how actually trades work, is like who's providing liquidity, who's providing both sides of the token. And that's what staking is. Exactly. And then that's what this is like. We've come back full circle to what we started with, where the idea of impermanent loss. Look, man, if everybody has Bitcoin and everybody has dollars, then you can trade it freely. But if there's no Bitcoin that anybody wants to sell and you're trying to just get rid of all your dollars, you're not going to get any Bitcoin because you're in some weird. Imagine that these pools are like weird trading alleys. And then you stake both sides and then one side gets sucked up and you're like, all right, well, I gave a lot of Bitcoin and dollars and hopefully I'll get rewards for being a liquidity provider. And then it's like, well, Bitcoin went to shit. Everyone's in dollars now. And so you have some dollars, you have more dollars than you started with, but your Bitcoin's gone because it's worth more. Or the flip side. And I mean, I might have done that explanation backwards, but that's the idea of impermanent loss. Is to trade, you need both sides. And then these markets are...
Yeah, there's a formula. It's like, X times whatever, XY equals whatever. But, first, so with the USDC coming to depegging, like, I think that was a little overblown because I think it was only 3.3 billion to the...
How did it depeg, though? Because I heard that they do reimburse, or what they do is that the dollar coins on USDC on Mondays they resolve it. And so then if you buy the dollar coins and then you try to reimburse them for actual dollars, they clear it every Monday. But too much sell pressure made it so that
that's why we saw that market dip, come back, whereas like it was dipping because of the
should we have bought the dollar coins? I think we should have.
Well, it was like 90
I saw
cents.
And it was
down to 90 cents.
There were like multiple days where it was under $1.
People were converting their USDC to ETH and Bitcoin.
But is this a Luna situation or is it not? And then it's not. This is a developing story.
It wasn't like all of USDC reserves were tied with this bank. Only like 3.3 billion of their 40 billion reserves. So that's like 8%. And so a lot of people, but you can't stop people from panicking, right? Like, especially people that you're not like interacting with. And so you definitely saw USDC drop to 90 cents.
Is this a step towards regulation though?
Back.
Is this a conspiracy? Is this like FUD? Is this like a
Well, it was like Elizabeth Warren was coming out and saying crypto causes, like cause as trying to blame crypto.
And other people said Elizabeth Warren caused it because she wants to tap down on regulations that are going to increase the reserve amounts for banks. So they're saying that there are some banks that are over leveraged worse than this bank. And now, is there going to be a bank run on Monday?
Yeah, who knows?
Hey.
We saw Silvergate 2 weeks ago, and that was down 50%. And like even crypto,
I've seen the memes, and I was posting them.
SVB, who's next?
The Joker. Batman 2.
Here
we go.
So we'll see what happens.
All of these banks are under collateralized.
And so maybe they're only the big banks that's...
This entire world economy is built on a house of cards.
Yeah, liabilities.
We are going to...
actual reserves.
We're in America, so we can legally say, get your guns, get your ammo, maybe some corn, some beans.
Get some gold? I don't know.
Get some locks. Yeah.
But...
Get some booby trap.
Yeah, speaking back on regulation, like because of all that bank run, like this story kind of got not swept under the rug or like kind of overshadowed, but the New York Attorney General sued KuCoin, which is huge because KuCoin's Hong Kong based, and in that security or in that lawsuit they mentioned that ETH staking is a security. And so that brings on the question of, whether there's going to be regulation on that, on the theme.
And I wanted to address the idea that, like, the USDC thing, if the government does get involved, and then it's kind of like the backdoor into starting to get the CBDC. So is USDC going to be the government-backed coin? And then now there are certain politicians, I don't have it up on my phone at the moment, but there are going to be politicians calling for a stable coin that's monitored and tracked.
Also, senators like fighting against it. Like like there are other people.
Libertarians, I'm a fan. Josh Hawley.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people that are.
But I don't want to get into politics. We gotta avoid that a little bit. But I mean, the idea of supporting crypto.
CBDCs are good and bad.
The devil.
Mostly. But yeah, so like that was.
No, but actually, let me dive in for 1 second. I did hear what someone had said, but I can't trust anybody. What they had said was going to be the eloquent solution is the idea that they are going to allow CBDC people to directly bank with the Federal Reserve, which to this point has been a convoluted system. This is a bit in the muck, and it's because I'm like super into, finance, news, business stuff. But the Federal Reserve lends to preferable rates to preferred banks that are politically tied to people that are all chilling in fucking Nantucket or wherever. They were saying that if you are a CBDC, or I mean, not a CBDC, if you're a stable coin, you can get those rates because we don't want you dealing through secondary or tertiary Circle, instead of dealing with the Silicon Valley Bank, should just deal directly with the Federal Reserve. That has been gatekept for JP Morgan and Citibank. They get a little bit better rates, and then they lend to the smaller banks, and then they lend to the smaller banks. And it's just inefficiencies. And it's corrupt. So instead of that, there is an idea of tying the government closer to the stable coins for better rates and for more security. Because if Circle was directly banking with the Federal Reserve instead of the Silicon Valley Bank, then this wouldn't be a stress because it would be directly backed by the Federal Reserve. But it's a fucking corrupt system where the big banks get the preferred rates and then they lend out to other banks. But who's to trust the big banks? And make this all technological, make it all decentralized, cut out the middlemen.
Yeah, there's a lot of people calling for a decentralized stablecoin.
Yeah.
But
well, and then
almost supposed to be like that.
The idea is though,
stable
no, the idea is that you can take a lot of assets and have them bank directly. You can have a decentralized force talk with a centralized force. We should have the dollar coins be safe. If you're a fan of crypto and you think that the depegging of stable coins is like funny, like, I mean, I think it's funny too, actually. It's funny.
Just a step back.
It's just unnecessary. It's just a problem. Look, why can't a dollar be a dollar digitally? And I've been trying to explain to a lot of people that they don't understand. And also, like, I imagine me having conversations with congressmen or senators. Do you understand that because of crypto, there's people around the world that have wanted to buy dollars that are not allowed to buy dollars, that can swap Bitcoin for dollars? They take their local currency, their dog shit Argentinian peso, their Zimbabwean whatever. They swap it for Bitcoin, and then they put it into dollars. A lot of these foreign people, they don't want Bitcoin, and Bitcoin isn't really the store of value that it's supposed to be. It tracks speculative markets. There's a fraction of people. Actually, more people would prefer to invest in dollars. Let's see how long that lasts, because our politicians are clowns and the Federal Reserve is ridiculous, and there's a lot of corruption, and the entire global market is in flux. BRICS is trying to destabilize the petrodollar, the flows of money, the increase in inflation in the United States.
To Ukraine, like,
it's not going to Ukraine. It's just going back to the Raytheon war machine. Really, it's going to be scary because people are going to start waking up to the idea that the American country is mainly a corporate entity, and we are incentivized to sell weapons because we are the main weapons dealers for the entire world. So we profit off of war, and the Ukrainian deal is good business for us. Recently, Nancy Pelosi discussed how inflation is a global matter because every government is inflating their money, and then the flows of money are placating citizens, but also mainly flowing towards the upper crust. Everything is getting inflated. The dollar value of anybody's currency is going to decrease. They're all going to lose their savings. If you save money, if you don't own anything, you're screwed. If you have debt, your debt will be worth less, but you're probably not making much if you're in debt. If you own a lot of stuff, your stuff is going to increase in value with inflation, so you're fine. So if you happen to own enough stuff to be able to outpace inflation, you're fine. And actually, at the same time, inflation is tamping down your competition. So inequality is going to increase.
So it's like, do you want to be in dollars? Like, kind of want to be in store of value, I guess.
And it's like valuable property.
Yeah.
But
nowadays, it's like, oh, who can afford it, right?
Exactly. Exactly. No. And it's like when there's blood in the street, buy land. There's land, and then the other thing that I think that I've had a thesis about is the idea of physical objects. And so land, physical objects. Brian's getting some rollies.
I'm on the waiting list.
He's on the waiting list.
It's not there yet, but I'm planning to.
But honestly, like, I think that we kind of explained the tumultuousness. We could get to other, but I mean, should we just glaze through the rest of it and then hit the shills?
Yeah, so there's some other stuff that happened like last 2 weeks ago. We didn't really get to touch on ETH Denver. Kind of like cringe city. There was all like the only thing that went viral was this really terrible song, or like, I don't know, was it purposeful? Gabriel Haynes, he's funny. He's really funny, but there's a fuck SBF, fuck Kyle, like Suzu song that was like getting performed, and people were like, oh, send it to zero. Someone sold all their bags after seeing this.
I think you can't mask the muted. I mean, crypto's been happier before.
Yeah.
But what we were saying was, and what Miles Deutscher had also tweeted that I had shared with Brian, it's not just crypto. Like,
yeah, everywhere. Like, yeah, like, they try to put the like Elizabeth Warren like tweeted. They try to put the blame on crypto because people don't, because the everyday person doesn't know the deep in nuances of crypto. Not Cryptosparta listeners though. We're not fooled.
If you've been listening for a long time, we've been on a journey, and I'd love to like get some like clips and cuts from like, seriously, this is a record of what really happened. And the scary thing is they try to rewrite history.
Roller coaster of emotions.
But like people try to talk about, oh yeah, the Trump bucks and people had money and everything was good. Did you feel that way?
No.
Yeah. The PPP loans went out, and then people kept their jobs.
No one.
That's a lie.
No one who needed the PPP loans got the PPP.
And then now they're trying to say we have record unemployment numbers. It's because people were on unemployment and they never went back to the workforce.
Yeah.
And they're just starting to trickle back. So, people's like mental issues, the young kids, there's a lot of stuff that's messed up. I found a new job, I find new jobs. Like, I'm not going to get too into it, but there are a lot of people that have checked out of the workforce that trying to find their way back in. People are saying, oh, everybody's hiring for less money. Inflation has outpaced wages by like a ton.
Yeah. And then corporate also is like, oh, I work for a big biotech company, and they're like, oh, inflation's, and your bonus is not covering inflation. Like,
well, the tech companies shed jobs. I mean, to have a job is still a privileged thing now. And so on the ground, I think that the people, there's like the propaganda that you hear out of the administration, but the reality is far gone from that.
Yeah, it's terrible. But back to ETH, because just for that, like that's why ETH Denver is supposed to be this huge technical event, but also future happenings with the Shanghai upgrade, which is supposed to be a huge unlock for validators. Like there's a huge amounts of like Bitcoin unlocking, the Mt. Gox situation, ETH unlocking for, initial stakers. And so we might see additional movement for crypto in the coming
I'd like to chart what I predict, bounce and then bounce back, but a little bit below what it started at, because what I heard is that
though.
No. Yeah, in general. And then that's the thing is that there's going to be, I think a lot of people have bids placed. And then what I heard is that a lot of people are going to try to restake when people stake less.
Well, yeah, I think staking is still prime, especially in this economy. You can stake, like, if I could stake my Chainlink right now, I could. Like, if those people but the pools are full.
Did you hear that Chainlink had reserves at SVB?
No, I didn't.
I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true.
It climbed back.
Everything did.
Yeah, so it went down to six.
This is one of a short idea that the idea of market versus whatever else, because like I was speaking with Aubrey the other day, listeners might know, but it's like you get an idea that you're following a certain market, but you don't see the macro market, but then you also don't see the crypto market for the macro market. So you're like, oh, crypto's getting dicked, and it's like, no, everybody's getting dicked. It's like, oh, my coin is getting dicked. It's like, no, everybody's getting dicked. And then you're like, oh, my coin is getting dicked, and it's like, yeah, they haven't done anything. People are selling it to get into something else. Like there's like the three stories for the same motion on a chart. Oh, wait, like your coin went down and then you think it's because of that news? No, everything got fucked because of this one thing that actually isn't even having to do with crypto. And the idea is to understand like the correlations between, is it traditional markets that are hurting crypto? Is it the crypto markets that are hurting my coin? Is it what's happening with my coin? Or am I like actually in tune with what is going to be outperforming or underperforming? Because what performance do you want? There was this one story on the Google News talking about how this one woman was getting $15,000 for managing $2 million, but the $2 million portfolio lost money. But versus the competition of her colleagues, they lost less money. Does she deserve to make money for losing less money than normal? If most people lost half their money and you barely lost money on 2 million, you have 190,000. She only lost 100,000, but most people lost 1 million. And that's like the same with CEO compensation. Yo, this one company doubled its business. Wait, we got a bad CEO that we paid millions of dollars and our company lost millions of dollars. wait, if our company lost millions of dollars, it's probably worth millions of dollars to get a good CEO that could make our company more millions of dollars. But then fucking commies.
That's the answer to everything.
The damn socialists.
Damn.
Should we just go to the shills or?
You want to do NFTs things?
I think there's just the Pudgy Penguins meeting with Walmart. But we talked about Pudgy Penguins. Like, so if you don't know, you should know. Now you know.
Get you. I don't know. I'm not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy shit. Especially in this economy.
I'm not telling you to buy it.
Wait. No, I'm not. I'm actually joking. But our show, I know we do shows. Might as well. I don't know if you want to do anything or buy anything in the market with these newses.
Is USDC still under $1?
It's like it's like 99 cents.
Yeah, that's a free 1%. It's free money.
Free 1%,
which is kind of crazy.
So what's the price?
Yeah, USDC
98 cents.
It's like free money right there. Free money right there. 99.2673 is what I see.
I got 0.985.
I got 0.991.
You don't have the decimal places. It's rounding up.
991 is not. I get 98 and 91. Arbitrage, dude. Just invest in fucking crazy techies that'll just arbitrage bullshit.
Yeah, so either, I don't know, USDC if you're feeling spicy, but yeah, I don't know. We're in wartime, I guess. My mom told me we're in wartime, so maybe cash is good too. But cash and gold.
That's what Ice Bags put out, where he was like, we got USDC. No, we minted in ETH, and then we got USDC.
I heard,
and he put it into USD. Like, just put it into a bank.
These treasury bonds might be the move.
6%. 6%. You can get it. No, CDs, certificates of deposit, but you need to be able to do it for
treasury bonds are like 4 or some percent.
Let's tie it back to the beginning. If you put your money away 6%. For 1 year, you can get 6%.
Yeah, why not?
But the reason why not is if you're a bank and people might ask you for their money back. Well, and you're like, well, I got it locked up for a year.
Well, maybe you just choose a bigger bank that you don't think will ever fail, like
the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, that's why treasury bonds, it's like it's like 4%, but you're like dealing with the Federal Reserve. So they're better than the banks. So maybe treasury bonds.
Are we getting cucked? Like, are we going back to the big government?
Yeah, you're being cooked. Who knows?
Just back the war machine. Come on, deposit your money at the local government.
Maybe start following these senators that are on these committees, like the transportation people, like that they're investing in the big build better.
I'm gonna start moving more into the physical asset realm. Maybe get some cheap emeralds. Like gold is like plain, some silver dollars. I don't know. Copper is actually useful. Just get some copper.
Are you a crack addict? You need copper ore.
We're worried.
We're gonna hit the.
We're getting ready for the zombie. I mean, if the dollar goes to shit though, people really don't know where the safe haven is.
So if the dollar goes to zero,
so Brian's getting Rolexes.
What's the what's the point of store of value? You're trading the copper value or copper wire for what then? If
they start collecting double A's. Double A's and triple A's in the post-apocalyptic future. You're gonna need batteries.
We're digressing.
All right.
End it.
Yeah.
Peace. Thank you for listening.